Hi YouTube, how you all going? Just going to do one final video in my World's Toughest Mudder 2012 journey, the collection of videos that I've put up. This won't be my last YouTube video though, it's just to kind of bring to an end, all the videos on World's Toughest Mudder for 2012. And this one, it's more so for the Aussies. It's just how to save money at World's Toughest Mudder or when you're going to World's Toughest Mudder. And the biggest tip I can give you is to buy online. Even if you just stick to Amazon.com, you're going to save a ton of money. Just to give you a few examples, the headlamps I bought, all essentially half price online. The socks, like in Genie socks, that kind of thing, they can be up to a third of the price online. Now, you know, me personally, I do believe in supporting Aussie retailers and all that kind of thing, but when the differences are that great, you just can't ignore it, because essentially someone along the line is making a bigger cut out of, you're taking more money out of your pocket for no particular reason. And I'm sure a couple of you guys in Australia have seen articles in the paper where a few big retailers have come out and said, that they should charge GST for online transactions, because the GST will then make online products more expensive and people go back to buying from shops. But to be honest, it's utter crap, because even if you have 10% GST on these online products, they're still super cheap relative to what you have to pay in an Aussie store. And I just think these companies that think that adding 10% GST on online transactions from overseas is going to make a big difference and automatically make them seem more competitive, it's rubbish. You can't get away with charging, $10 online for a pair of socks, and then I go down to the shop and it's $30. Especially when you go on a World's Toughest Mudder, and I took multiple pairs of everything. You buy 5 pairs of socks at $30 a pop. That's a lot of money, and you repeat that over all the different products that you got to buy as well. Now, I do, as I said, like supporting Aussie retailers where I can. So when I went to smaller businesses that were kind of owned by a local person and not, some national corporation. Key example being the neoprene hood that I bought, and also the neoprene gloves. I bought them from the store. I could have bought them online. They weren't as cheap online as some of those other products I mentioned. The saving was maybe 10, 15, 20%. But just for the hassle and everything like that, and because I could try it on and the guys helped me, I spent my money there. Another time, when I went to look at buying the socks from a national retailer, they got 70 stores or whatever the case may be, customer service was non-existent. They had 2 people in a shop that was probably about 800 square meters in size. I was there for 3 hours, and not once did anyone come and ask, if I wanted a hand with any equipment, did I have any questions. And I was looking at all kinds of stuff. I was looking at tents, sleeping bags, everything like that. I could have easily spent maybe $500 to $1,000 in that shop, but because there was no customer service, what I did instead was I went to the product, looked at the socks, and then I got on my iPhone and I went to Amazon.com and saw what the price was and realized that they were a third of the price. So if you're an Aussie retailer watching this, make sure you kind of get on top of your customer service, because it is lacking in a number of our national retailers, and then maybe you won't have to complain about people buying stuff online. If you're someone who's going to World's Toughest Mudder, the tip is to get online, look at the prices. You can look at eBay as well. The headlamps were on eBay. If they were Aussie-based retailers on eBay, they'll maybe 20-30% cheaper. If they were an overseas-based person who was also advertising on eBay Australia, again, you could save a bit more, but Amazon was still the cheapest. Wetsuits, that kind of thing, buy them out of season. If you have to buy them from a shop, you can get them sometimes 50% off steamers. I like being able to try on a wetsuit and wear it, so a little bit hesitant about buying online, but I guess you could always find one in Australia, try it on and that. But trying on wetsuits and stuff, it takes a lot of time. You could be in a shop for half an hour and it feels kind of a bit dodgy, not then kind of giving them any business. I didn't buy my wetsuit online because I was fortunate enough to have a guy who I play soccer with who works for a surf company and was able to help me out with a really good deal. So that's kind of tip number 2. Speak to your family and friends. You might have someone who works in a camping shop or a sports shop or whatever. Maybe they can get you a little bit of a better discount. Or you can borrow gear. You kind of, it is a little bit hard with World's Toughest Mudder because you might trash it, but you know, if a mate has an old steamer as a wetsuit, second-hand steamer that they can lend you, and they're okay if it doesn't come back in perfect condition, you know, that's a great option. I wouldn't necessarily go take it as your first choice, but you could always take it as your backup wetsuit in case things go wrong. That way you only have to buy one, not two. The other thing, shoes. I did take multiple pairs of shoes because I liked being able to change them each lap. I wouldn't necessarily do that if I was going to try and be like ultra competitive and in that pointy end of the field. But if you want to keep going and you're someone who's going at a slower pace, I think being able to change your shoes is a bit of a morale boost. You can put on, you know, you have dry feet for a little bit longer on each lap. Look for shops where like their discount retails by end of season. I went to a store here in Sydney. It's called Paul's Warehouse. They parallel import, which means, you know, they buy Nike sneakers or Adidas sneakers from an Asian country and bring them here. They're exactly the same sneaker. They might just have a different tag on the inside or something like that, but they're still proper Nikes. They're not fakes. They're not anything like that. Or they also stock end of season stuff. So, you know, Nike release a range of shoes and then they don't want to sell that brand anymore in their premium stores, and companies like this, they pick it up. So I was able to get 2 pairs for the price of one. They still are expensive relative to what you can buy online, but because I qualified for World's Toughest Mudder in October, I only had a month, so I couldn't muck around too much. I did have to buy some gear in the shops. If you were getting to America like 2 weeks beforehand and you had some time to, you know, you're going to have a holiday or something beforehand or a bit of a longer period in America, you could buy your sneakers there. A lot cheaper in America, and then you could wear them in, you know, in those 2 weeks. If you just wore them when you're walking around town, that kind of thing, that should be sufficient. And then, yeah, again, if there is gear, and this is only really if you have time to do it. I did this and it was a bit stressful because you're always looking around for shops and stuff, and not every store had what I needed, but you can buy gear in America. Again, a lot cheaper just because there's so many more Americans than there are Aussies, and you know, you got bigger networks of stores and they can just do bigger volume discounts. So they're kind of my just general tips. Buy online, speak to friends, buy stuff in America and look for discount retails and that kind of thing. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit, guys, and if you have any questions, just post them below or shoot us an email via YouTube. Thanks again.